and I am Ruby Ann Cotton, Council President and Councilwoman of the Paterson 4th Ward. I will be your moderator for this afternoon, and also with me is our Madam Clerk, Sonia Gordon. The purpose of this forum is to formally present at-large candidates in the upcoming municipality election on Tuesday, May 8th, 2018, and for you and the viewers and the voters to hear their platform or views on which they are seeking to be elected to fill the office of council at large. This afternoon, we are hosting 5 of the 14 at-large candidates. However, in the municipality election on May 8th, 2018, you will vote for 3 candidates. The candidates featured today are vying to be elected to the office of council at large are as follows in alphabetical orders: Mohammed Akaruzaman, Aslan Gal Sr., Fatima Bell, Bernard Jones, and Marissa Davila. Please use this format to familiarize yourself with the candidates as well as to their views. As the moderator, I will strictly enforce the time allotted to each of the candidates, maintain decorum and discipline, and will intervene in the event of any diversions from the spirit and the purpose of the forum. I must ask all candidates, please show respect and courtesy to each other. The order of the forum is under: each candidate will have 5 minutes to present his or her opening remarks in alphabetical orders. Each candidate is permitted to ask other candidates 3 questions in one round. The responding candidates will have 2 minutes to respond. There will be absolutely no rebuttal by any candidates, whether you are the one asking or responding to a question. Candidates will also have 5 minutes to wrap up or give his or her closing remarks. Our Madam Clerk here, Sonia Gordon, will be our timekeeper, and we have 2 staff members here with us, Ms. Joan Campbell Douglas and Ms. Paula Ruse. Thank you for your participation, and we will begin the forum. I will begin with the first candidate is Mr. Mohammed Akaruzaman, who will introduce himself and present his opening remarks. Mr. Akaruzaman, please begin.
Good afternoon. I want to thank Madam Sonia Gordon for organizing this debate. I also want to thank the respected elders, community leaders, and those who are here and also watching from home. My fellow Patersonian, my name is Mohammed Zaman, and I am running for council at large. When you have a burning desire to serve, it never leaves you. After I represented 2nd Ward from 2012 to 2016, I was left fired up. While councilman, I proposed 3 very important ordinances that improve the quality of life and safety of our great city. I introduced the hotspot ordinances that reduce crime in dangerous areas by 80%. I also pushed for a special police force unit that can provide more support for our regular police officers, force unit that can provide more support. I helped to bring more cameras to high crime areas. I also led one of the biggest anti-tax rally in the history of Paterson. As homeowner, I know how much a tax increase can hurt our pockets. And with constant mismanagement of our budget, I am here to say enough is enough. Moving forward, I will call for a comprehensive financial audit of our budget to make sure every tax dollar is working for the people of Paterson. I also promise to invest in our youth. I know firsthand one caring adult can make a big difference in a child's life. For example, when I came to this country in 1986, I came with my brother. My mother left behind in Bangladesh. And I was going through that rough time. I created a lot of problems at home and at school. And I remember one of the vice principal at John F. Kennedy High School, her name was Ben Rensselaer. She pulled me aside, and I think this was the longest conversation I ever had. She became my surrogate mother. She guided me. She mentored me. And I graduated from high school, then I went on to college, and I earned my bachelor degree in computer science. So I believe how important it is to invest in our youth. Our youth are our greatest asset. I believe if we mentor in a right way, they can become one day successful. So thank you and for watching this.
Thank you, Mr. Akaruzman. I will now introduce you to our next candidate, Ms. Fatima Bell. Ms. Fatima Bell, please.
Hello. Hello. Turn it on. Hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, Mrs. Cotton, Mrs. Gordon, everyone here, and the people sitting here at the front. My name is Fatima Bell, and I'm the City of Paterson's next generation of leadership. I am a product of the Paterson school system. I'm a lifelong resident here in Paterson. The reason why I decided to run for city council is because when I looked around, I didn't see an advocate for younger people. I always wondered, what was going on in the city outside of the things that I knew. All of the organizations that's happening, all of the people who are a part of serving the underserved population here. And I was so curious as to how decisions were made, so I started to come to city council meetings so that I can gain a little education on who was the councilmen at large, councilmen and women at large, who were the council people, which wards were they attached to, so that way, if I was ever asked, I could share that information. A lot of people in my generation, not all, I went back to my friends and I asked them, I said, do you know who your councilman is? Do you know who your councilwoman is? And they said, no. I said, do you know what they do? And nobody had any idea about what was happening. So I said, I have to find out how this goes. So I did a little research, and then I decided to run. And then I decided to run to become the advocate for us and to bridge the gap between politics and millennials. A lot of people say millennials is a term that shouldn't be used because it seems like I'm not advocating for anyone else, but that's not true. I'm just advocating for the people who, really don't have an idea what's going on. A lot of people who attend churches know a lot of politics. A lot of politicians, but a lot of people on the outside of those normal things or those things that are happening every day that don't apply to us, we don't know. So I decided to bring my leadership, my character, and my integrity to the city council. I went to PCCC to attain a degree in human services. I'm now a student at William Paterson University, receiving my bachelor's degree in liberal studies. I don't ever want to sit in front of an audience and act like I have all the answers to something that I've never done before, but I do want everyone to know that if it's something that I could learn, I would always learn it and advocate for it at its best. The people who are knowledgeable and the people who have the education and the people who have the experience, those words mean something different to everyone because the value of the person determines the experience, the knowledge. Those words all mean something different. So what we have to do is try to get everyone on the same page to come together. We already separated by wards, and by 2 or 3 blocks, the whole city changes. So what we have to do is, become the one Paterson, that everyone seems to think that we should have. My name is Fatima Bell. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fatima Bell. I will introduce the next candidate, Marissa Davila. Please, Ms. Marissa Davila.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you so much for putting this together along with our city clerk, Madam Gordon, and to all of you that are always very helpful. I am your councilwoman at large, Marissa Davila. And today I sit here with a heavy heart. Just about 2 hours ago, I received notice that my coworker and friend and colleague was found. And I was with the family,
and the mother did not want to let me go. And it was hard because you say to yourself on the personal level, as a mother that I am as well, but as a friend and part of the family, I have a commitment. And just like when my mother passed away, the same day there was a vote that was really necessary to adopt the budget, and I came in. And so I got myself together and I said, you know, this is for you, Sammy. I appreciate all of the support that you've given me for the past 17 years, and may you rest in peace. So I begin to tell you, as I started, I am your councilwoman at large. And for over 25 years, I have been working for the community. I've had the pleasure, and for those that don't know me, I've had the pleasure to have worked and continue to work at Passaic County College as an administrator. And I have a bachelor's and a master's, and yes, we talk about titles and we talk about, you know, having the burning desire, the need. I've been doing and working without a title. When I was elected 4 years ago, the reason why I ran is somewhat the same as one of the candidates just indicated about seeing a disconnect, wanting to be an advocate, and the fact that I was already an advocate at the county college, serving thousands of students, young adults to become professionals and productive citizens in the city and throughout the county. I decided that the efforts that I was putting in my job on a day-to-day, the efforts that I was putting at church, the efforts that I was putting working with other candidates to get them elected, I said it's time for me to put the efforts in me. And I thank those that 4 years ago decided that they wanted that change, and I was that change. 4 years later, I've had the opportunity to sit here and work very closely with a council of 9. Anyone that tells you that it's all about one and I did, this is not an I thing, this is a we thing. It is a body of 9, and we have to work together. Although at times this council can look somewhat fragmented, at the end of the day, at least 5 of us come together, we come to a consensus, and we do what is right for the city of Paterson. The city of Paterson is in dire need. It is in dire need. There are 3 seats available. I am one of the 3 that hope and pray that all of you decide to bring me back because of the experience that I have with governance, because of the experience that I've had working these last 4 years. I'm committed. I will promise, if anything I promise, is to be that woman of integrity that I have been for the past 4 years. I will continue to be dedicated. I will continue to work with those colleagues that want to do right by the city of Paterson. I thank you for voting for me 4 years ago, and I hope that this May 8th, you will vote for Maritza Davila, re-elect 4B. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davila. We will now have opening remarks by Aslan Gal Sr. Mr. Gal, please.
Thank you, Madam President, Madam Clerk, and staff members. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. I want to start by talking about my experience here. In 2000, I ran for the office of the 2nd Ward, and I served from 2000 to 2012. During that time, when I took office, I remember the budget in the city of Paterson was $160 million. It is now 18 years later. Our budget has exceeded $285 million. So 18 years later, if you do the math, that's a tremendous increase. That's well over 50+%. But what else has changed since then? Absolutely nothing. 14 candidates are running for 3 positions for council person at large. 14 people. You have 6 folks running for mayor. Everybody's talking about the same thing: crime, taxes, drugs, quality of life issues, parks and recreation, policing. Everybody's campaigning on stabilizing the taxes now, because it's obvious and evident that nobody's going to reduce the taxes, even with economic development. The best we probably can do is stabilize the taxes. But I honestly believe if we brought the right people in and we brought an auditor in, we would really discover where all the wasteful spending has been taking place. I personally, during my time when I was here, along with the former city attorney, discovered that for 10 years, we were not putting the bid out for contract on health care. We also found out that on a national level, people were paying $11,000 for health care coverage, the same health care coverage that we were getting, but the city of Paterson was paying $16,000. So if you do the math over 10 years at $5,000 more per person times 1,600 employees plus the 700 plus families that we carry after they retire, we're talking about $300 million. Imagine what we could do with $300 million right now. That's just a little example of the area and the abuse. This city government is not functioning to its full capacity. We are not even close. There are those who want to talk about the changes that they want to make. But during the 12 years that I represented the Second Ward, there is no doubt I was visible. If you called me, I responded to you. I made sure that the police department and the fire department and Department of Public Works were all being responsive to the constituents. I was a hands-on person. We improved the quality of life. And in addition to that, I voted against every single tax increase. When Marty Barnes was the mayor, he stabilized the taxes for 5 years. He told all the departments, nobody's getting new cars, new trucks, no new toys, no spending. And we had a break. It's 16 years later, ladies and gentlemen, that we have not seen the taxes stabilized once. And there's absolutely no excuse for that. So it's going to be very challenging, to say the least, for the new people that will be coming on board, and maybe the people that have been here. You have to understand that this is not going to be done by one single person. This governing body has the biggest responsibility to the Paterson residents more than anybody. This body is the final say. This is the place where the buck stops. I'm tired of hearing it's the mayor. Yeah, the mayor will introduce the budget, but it's the council that has to say to the mayor, to make the tough decisions, that if you're going to make cuts, you're going to make cuts. This is where it stops. I've been serving, as I stated to you, for 12 years, and I hope after this conversation, I don't know where this will take us tonight, but I hope after this conversation you will consider me or reconsider me again to serve as a council person at large and do what I did in the Second Ward on a citywide level. I'm Aslan Gao Sr., and I am 10B on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gao. I will introduce you to Mr. Bernard Jones. Mr. Jones, please.
Thank you so much, Madam President, as well as Madam Clerk. My name is Bernard Jones. I am 6B on the ballot for Council at Large for this wonderful city. I have spent the last 4 years of my life working very hard to educate and inform the citizens of this great city. I've been honored to be selected to be a commissioner on the Housing Board, which has allowed me the opportunity to study different opportunities and different things to help affordable housing and those opportunities for low-income individuals. But with that being said, I've spent the last 4 years advocating for businesses, nonprofits, and the citizens of this city, educating, informing, and making them conscious of all things that are taking place in the city of Paterson, because a conscious people are a progressive people. I raised $75,000 last year alone for nonprofits in the city of Paterson. And if elected on May 8th, my goal really would be to raise $1 million for the recreation department. I need the citizens of this great city to pull out a sheet and write down all 14 names and say, what have they done, what can they do, and what are they capable of doing to help move this city forward? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself. And with that being said, I hope you really evaluate who I am as a person and what I can bring to the city. Throughout the night, I will answer other questions, hopefully by the other candidates that offer, that give you a little better understanding of who I am as a person. That's it, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. We will now go into our question and answer portion, and our first one to go up, it will be Mr. Muhammad Akaruzaman. Thank you, Mr. Akaruzaman. You have 3 questions that you can ask per candidate, and I would like the candidate to know you have 2 minutes to respond. There will be no rebuttal from Mr. Akaruzaman.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to ask Ms. Fatima Bell. You know, I never met you, but the last debate I met you, and I was like really impressed. You're very energized, and you want to do the right thing for the city of Paterson. And I think in future we need people like you. But just want to know, like, instead of running for a ward, you're running for a large. Do you think you made a right move?
Thank you for that question. I don't think that there was a good move or a bad move for me to be made. I don't think that there was a good move or a bad move made by me. What happened was I initially just was trying to learn the process. So I went around candidates who were running just to see how receptive they would be to me asking them questions about the process. But in doing so, and I didn't meet every candidate, and in doing so, I didn't get the response that I was looking for as a young person who's trying to be a part of the process. And I hear everyone say that we need new ideas and we need new fresh blood and all of those things that they use. So I say, when I come along, you know, maybe I can be the candidate that they saying that they need. So after a while, you know, I didn't get anything from anyone personally, so I decided to run. And I decided to run because when I look at what's needed here is leadership. Leadership can be done by someone with no experience, because leadership is something that, you know, someone may just have. It doesn't have to take experience. I have integrity. I have character. I noticed that a lot of those things were missing just by me meeting some of the candidates. I feel like everyone should always embrace younger generation of people, because we are the future. And in doing so, you have to embrace us and teach us the things that you think that we need to make. If somebody would have said to me, Miss Fatima, this is not your time, but come with me, let me show you how this go, and you can learn from what I have going on here, and we can prepare you for a later run, that would have worked for me as well, but it didn't. So since I already was feeling what I was feeling, I decided to learn and run at the same time, which was the hardest thing to do. But, you know, we're about 12 days in, and I made it this far, so I'll just keep going, and whatever the outcome, I'll share the experience. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no question.
Thank you. You're finished, Mr. Akaruzaman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Go tell them now. Ms. Bell. Our next candidate for questions and answer portion will be Ms. Fatima Bell.
Hello, everyone. Mr. Muhammad, this question is for you. Paterson is a diverse city. what specific ideas do you have to reach out to all the ethnic groups in the city as an at-large candidate?
Well, first thing, I don't look at it as a, ethnicity, because I believe we all came from the same factory. It's just sometimes we have a cultural differences. And once we pass the culture, we all are same. For example, if you go to the St. Joseph Hospital and you have a, if you have a blood pressure, they don't ask you what ethnicity you're from. So I believe we have to, we have to love the city, and everyone who's living in the city is a one unison, one team, and we have to work together.
Thank you. That's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Our next candidate up for question and answer portion would be Marissa Davila.
Good afternoon once again. I'm only going to ask one question, and this question is going to be for Mohammed Akhtar Zaman. Mohammed, you were elected, and once you were not reelected, you say that, you've had that passion and that fire in the belly. I'd like to know, since you have not been reelected, what have you been doing in the city of Paterson for the city of Paterson?
Well, first thing, do you believe that I lost that election?
He's asking me a question.
She's
I can't
not.
answer.
She's
No,
not.
it's okay.
Thank you.
In my heart, I still believe I won the election, but it was rigged. But anyway, I've been always for advocate for the community. I've been going to this school. If you can, School 29, this has happened in like a year ago. They needed badly air condition. I spoke to the principal. We did the fundraising from the public, from the business owner. So I'm always been involved in the school community, and I've been fighting for the youth.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it,
Yes.
Ms. Davila. Thank you, Ms. Davila. Okay. Thank you. For our next candidate at large, question and answer portion will be Mr. Aslan Gal Sr. Mr. Gal.
Thank you, Council President. I would just like to make a statement at this time. Earlier I stated that I wasn't really interested in asking questions, but not for any specific reason other than the fact that I did serve 12 years here, and I have a very good understanding how city government works and how to understand and get around things that might arise that the average person wouldn't know. So, and I've learned this from my experience, that we have a pretty decent panel of folks this time. And even though there's 5 of us here today, there's still, what do you have, 8 more? 9 more? 9 more candidates. Everybody brings something different to the table. So I don't want to stand here and act like I'm smarter than them, because I'm sure I can ask them all questions that they would have no idea. And I'm not here to make anybody look foolish, but I'm wishing everybody the best. And I hope whatever the outcome of this event will be today, that somehow, some way, with 3 new people up there or 1 incumbent and maybe 2 new people, that we move the city forward once and for all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Gal. Our next candidate at large up for questions and answer portion would be Mr. Bernard Jones. Mr. Jones?
This question is for the candidate, Mrs. Bell. The question is, do you feel there's a waste in the city budget? And if so, please cite 2 specific areas where you would reduce funding.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, for that question. I looked over the budget briefly for the first time today in its entirety. And what I found is that I will request an audit of line item designated for department heads to see where necessary cuts could be made, as well as look at the contracts and the outside consultants that we have. A lot of the things here, being this is my first time looking at a budget at this amount of money, because I can budget, on a daily basis or a bi-weekly basis. But this budget here, it's a lot different from what I know, but that's what I seen the area that looks like I need to look at it a little more and see the necessary of it. Of those 2 specific things, if I had to name 2 things.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. We will now have our closing remarks by our candidates, and it will go in reverse order, with Mr. Jones, Mr. Gao, Ms. Davila, Ms. Bell, and Mr. Zaman. The closing remarks, and you have 5 minutes. Beginning with Mr. Bernard Jones. Did something?
We wanted
What?
to ask. Oh, we got over there one time.
Yeah,
to
you
ask.
sit there.
Oh. Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
Ready? 4 years ago, I decided to run for office and was unlucky. But during that time, I studied government. I put myself into the community, raising money, bringing awareness to organizations and things like that. That is what you need, someone that is willing and able to study and work hard for the people of Paterson. I then decided to run again a year and a half later for a special election in the 1st Ward and was unlucky again. But during that run, I sat in this very room and addressed an issue on how to bring revenue into the city. I said we should go after the surrounding towns like Heldon and Wayne that was tapped into the Paterson sewer system. A month later, council put in legislation to go after surrounding towns, where we went from $6 million to $10 million. And I feel like I played a part in that. If given that opportunity, I will be a thinker for the citizens of this city. I will study the budget. I will just really master the overall budget. Let me calm down. This is what we need to inform the people. The form of government in which the city of Paterson runs by is the Faulkner Act. That form of government is where the council is Congress and the president is the mayor. The council has the right to call the mayor to the floor and question and challenge the budget at all times. They can vote to remove a line item and say we're not going to pass this budget, come back with a better budget. Those are things that the council can do. We have to educate the people so that the people can hold the council as well as the administration accountable. Until that is done, we will continue to have $1 billion walk into this city and walk out this city without the citizens of this city benefiting from that $1 billion. There is so many programs and opportunities for our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren to grow from, but it's about electing the right individual to come into the city and make sure those things are available for our citizens. On May the 8th, I'm asking you, I'm begging you to go into that poll and vote for true government, real government, government that is going to be able to bow down and listen to the citizens and put the people and the citizens before themselves. So that is what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to go do your homework, research on me, and realize this is my time. 4 years of working hard to do right by the people of Paterson. And that is all I'm expecting, and that's all I'm asking for you, is to do right by yourself and to do right by me, because I will always do right by this city.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. We will now have Mr. Gao closing remarks.
Thank you, Council President. Madam Clerk and staff, I want to thank you again. A little interesting tonight, huh? No questions, and I think it's a courtesy thing, and I think it's only fair to everybody. I just want to recap on some things during my time when I first ran in 2000. When I ran in 2000, we didn't have the Department of Motor Vehicles. They were gone. Nobody even talked about bringing them back. But in 2000, in my literature, which I can prove if you look at my literature, I talked about bringing them back. 2 years later, Senator Girgenti's office jumped on it. The movement was there, and we brought it back. Nobody even talked about the Great Falls being a national park. I talked about making it a national park. It's in my literature from 2000. Today, we have a national park, Great Falls National Park. There are other things that I've done. I spent a lot of time, my heart and soul, I wish we could have did it in a shorter period of time, to restore Pennington Park. But that's only one park out of many parks in the city of Paterson. But that one specifically was in the second ward. But it took 14 years, even 2 years after I left. Now I hear the most disturbing thing, that we're leasing it to Bergen County. I can't believe for the life of me that we would do something so stupid. But that decision was made here. I don't think it's been final. I think the votes were there. But I think what we need to do is revisit this and rescind it. That park is a city park. It's for city residents. There was a time when one of the most famous soccer league teams from Argentina came to Paterson, New Jersey, and they wanted to refurbish the park, make it a soccer center, something on a national level, but they were denied that. But yet now we're going to lease it to Bergen County. So this I find a little disturbing. All the parks in the city of Paterson have been neglected. Parks are a way of life. Large cities emphasize the benefit of parks. People like to go to parks. You can't go to a Paterson park. You might go there during the daytime, spend a little hour, but for the most part of the day, the parks are in very bad shape. The taxes must be stabilized. The new administration has to make some tough decisions. This council's going to have to make tough decisions. We have to make the cuts. There's no way around it. Enough is enough. Everybody's talking about it, but nobody's doing it. How much further are we going to go? We can't borrow any more money. We're down to $300-something million. Now we can only borrow $80 million if we needed to. When I said, let's spend $10 million to refurbish the streets back in 2004, they told me, $10 million, are you crazy? So now in 2018, you bond $43+ million, and you still haven't gotten a fraction of the roads paved. So here we are 18 years later, 2 years after we bonded $43 million, and do you see any roads being paved as we speak? The roads are getting worse and worse. So these are just a few of the things. There are many challenges that are going to face the new administration and a new council. And everybody better be ready for it, because this is the time to move Paterson forward. We have to do this once and for all. Why is it that Paterson continues to pay health care benefits for police, fire, DPW, and other workers after they retire? Okay, right now they're our employees, we take care of them. But when they retire, enough is enough, ladies and gentlemen. These are big choices. You have to do this. I'm not saying anybody who's in the system now, we take anything away from them, but let's start now. When you retire, new employees that come on now, when they retire, they have to carry their own, like other municipalities do. How are we going to sustain ourselves? $300 million is what we're facing. State-owned, literally by the state. We're dependent on them. When is that going to end? You know, the logic here is a little backwards. I've never seen the things that I've seen happening here. They would never happen anywhere else. Everybody talked about the mayoral candidate not living in the city of Paterson. But interestingly, a judge ruled in his favor, and he made him a certified candidate. So you can't dispute that anymore. But this is my point. Your business administrator doesn't live here. She's a state senator. Your city attorney, who doesn't live here, is the mayor of Haledon. Your DPW director doesn't live here. Your police chief doesn't live here. Your fire chief doesn't live here. Should I keep going? How many other employees do not live here? So why would they have the same concern and same value of living in this city? Public safety is a big issue. Taxes are a big issue. This is our time to move the city forward. I will conclude by saying I'm Aslan Gao Sr. I bring the most experience to the table. I have a good understanding of how city government works, and I'm 10 beyond the ballot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Gao. We will now have closing remarks by Ms. Marissa Davila. Ms. Davila.
I began by saying I am your councilwoman at large, Marissa Davila. And I'm going to end by saying I am your councilwoman. I am that councilwoman who has sat these 4 years here and has made many tough decisions. When people have tried to indicate that I am that individual who is just pro the administration, no, I've been that person and that advocate to make sure that things get done. And yes, it would be nice if there was a group of people who worked with the administration. Yes, we must hold them accountable. Yes, we must make sure that the things that they're putting before us, we're scrutinizing. But I continue to say, I am that councilwoman who has made those tough decisions. I'm that councilwoman who came when her mother passed away to the city council to vote to adopt the budget. I'm that councilwoman with this past budget who first voted no and then thought about, if this doesn't pass, what happens? What happens to those $27 million that, yes, we are dependent of? Are we ready to say, let's not get this money, let's continue to increase taxes at 18, 20%? No, I wasn't ready. I'm that councilwoman who made the tough decision, switched to vote to yes, because I understood that our workers needed to be paid, that contracts and services that were rendered needed to get paid. So I am that councilwoman that will continue to fight for the city of Paterson. You may not like always what I have to say, but we have to have some skin in the game. I am that councilwoman who will always lead with integrity, who will be honest, and as I said, you may not always like what I do or what I say, but I will tell you the truth. I am that councilwoman, Councilwoman Maritza Davila, who will continue to work not only with the Latino community. I am the councilwoman at large who has been working for over 25 years in an institution that has handled students from all over the county, from all walks of life and all ages, starting from grammar school to high school to college and senior citizens. We need to have someone to make sure that understands government. We just can't say it's time for new blood. We do need it. Because I think with everything in life, balance is always the best. Yes, we have individuals that are running that have had years of service, that have years of experience, and that's a good thing. That's why I'm saying I am your councilwoman that will be coming back on Tuesday, May 8th. Vote Maritza Davila, re-elect Maritza Davila, your councilwoman at large, your councilwoman for all. Councilwoman 4B.
Thank you, Ms. Davila. The next closing remarks will be done by Ms. Fatima Bell. Ms. Bell.
Hello, everyone. Knowledge and experience. Those are the two words that everyone uses. But what do they really mean? Because you've experienced something, does that mean you did it right? Because you have knowledge of something, do that mean you make the best decisions? What we have to do is hold everyone accountable for the part that they play on this council seat. The at-large candidates have to be not just in the ward where they feel comfortable, they have to be in each ward. Everyone should know who their at-large council people are. We know our councilmen and women because they're our personal councilmen and women, but the at-large, why do people not even know that there's an at-large candidate? Why are people so confused about the definition of at-large and what do they do? Because it's not seen. It's not nothing that you know. Like, it's not nothing that you can point out. A lot of people had no idea that we even had an at-large portion of the council. Me, myself, I never knew that either. The value of a person determines the decisions that they make in any position, but especially the position of council. We have to embrace new leaders, such as myself, because we all can't stay here forever. There has to be new ideas. The world is changing on a daily basis. Things are evolving. People who bring new ideas to the table should always be necessary. People who have experience and have been sitting here a long time, when they have a new idea in front of them, they do what they've been doing, trying to include the new idea, but they never really just step outside of what they've been doing and just look at it for brand new. Experience. The needs of the city are right outside of our windows. This doesn't. I can Google a definition of a council person, but the needs are right outside of our windows. Who's in a part of the current administration that's, in charge of the trash, the underserved population, the potholes? All of these experienced people here, and we can't even get a decent living. That's the smaller things before taxes and abatements and all of those cool words that we use. But what about the smaller needs? We have 9 people currently a part of the administration. Who's currently doing anything about our quality of life? Because it applies to me as well. I write a lot of things down because every day I educate myself and I find out new information. And I write tons of things, and it's all over the place. I have 1,000 papers because I have so many questions, but I'm also trying to have the perfect answer for the residents as well, which is tough because it's like, how do you have a perfect answer for something that you've never done before? No council is not on the job training. No, it's not on the job training. But every day we should come in here learning something new. As your councilwoman, I will empower our communities, providing quality leadership, which includes character and strategy, while creating paths for future leaders to follow. I will be bold. I will always advocate for our quality of life and our safety. I will always work with integrity. That means having character and moral courage. In any event that I have to make a decision, I will always choose the best for the city and its residents. Reliability is really about work ethics. I will go the extra mile to ensure that things are done properly while managing commitments, valuing views, hearing a voice, and respecting your time. Now, when you hear that, that sounds like, wow, that was something like good. That was perfect. I studied that. I made that so it could make sense to you guys, so I can have the perfect example of what I will do. But in all honesty, I have to get here in these chambers and sit with these people who will be a part of a part of the team that I will be on for 2 years, 4 years, wherever we will be for 2 or 4 years. I have to work with these people, and we have to come together to get one value, and that's the city. I could come here with all of these personal agendas. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do any of those things because guess what? 4 other people have to agree with me. And if they don't, then none of those things will get done. Don't be led by all of these promises. We can't be led by all of these promises because they're really... Most of them are unattainable because if those were things that could be done, why haven't they been done all of this time? I've been in this city since I was born here. I'm 33 years old. 18 years I've been really paying attention to what's going on here, working and all of those, becoming a parent, being a part of the school system, raising a child. And I'm saying to myself, everybody been coming and going. Who's the leader? Who has integrity? Who has character? Because if you Google most of the people, what you do to find out about people that you don't know, you'll be like, okay, well, yeah, that's not it. My name is Fatima Bell, and I'm 12B on the ballot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. We will now have closing remarks by Mr. Mohammed Akaruzman. Mr. Akaruzman.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to thank the host and Madam Sonia Gordon for preparing for this forum. I would also like to thank all of you guys that taking the time and be the part of the democratic processes. I know we talked about knowledge and experience, but we also need a good heart, because I served here 4 years, and I remember there's a lot of backroom deals went in. You know, these people, if you don't have a heart, I understand, you will find your way. Education, yes, you need it. Experience, yes, you need it. But 100% you need a good heart, because without good heart, I personally experienced a lot of the setbacks at that council. And I thought who I believed, you know, there were some of my colleagues or my sister. After the election, they've been bought by other people. So I seen that. And so I know they don't even know you anymore because they got the seat. So you need your heart to serve the community, to serve people, because you can't just come here and sometimes you make up stories and cry. That does not, you know, you have to believe in God. And I'm telling you, without God, you cannot serve people. And so when I was your second ward councilman, I always was responsible, available, and was able to actually make a real difference and impact it in other communities. I organized one of the biggest anti-tax rally in the history of Paterson. I created hotspot ordinances. Well, I sponsored hotspot ordinances that reduced like crime 80%. I also put a lot of cameras on the hotspot areas. Today, as I'm sitting here, in my first 100 days, I promise to make the largest investment into the recreational program for our youth and make our streets safer, expanding special police force assist to our regular police officers that has been hurt by our budget cuts and mismanagement. I bring the experience, knowledge, and the heart that is badly needed on the council, and will always be available. If you, anytime, even when I was a councilman, I served 2 in the morning. People called me, I got up and I dressed up and I went to, because this was my job. When I signed up, I know what I'm getting into. I cannot say, you know what, if I cannot come now, it's after 10 o'clock. Some people call me from the second ward, 1 in the morning, and these people, still this day, they care about me, they respond me, and they keep telling me that, councilman, you're going to make it, because what happened to you, I don't think it was the right thing they did to you. So please, on May 8th, count on me, count on my running mate, Pedro Rodriguez, who's running for mayor, Mitch Santiago, and my name is Muhammad Akhtar Zaman. I'm on ballot position number 5, and remember, the best is yet to come. So thank you. I'm on 5B.
Thank you, Mr. Akarusaman. And I want to say once again to my 5 candidates here, I wish you well on May 8th, 2018, and best of luck to you all. Thank you.
Thank you.